Ahoy hoy.
It's time for the UCF podcast. Fighting out of the red corner, a fucking loser with the Internet Arguments 1 record of 0 wins, 362 losses. Sorry, I'm gonna stop that joke there if that's okay.
That's perfectly fine by me.
Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. This is a championship fight, man. That's a lightweight title bout.
It is. It is. UFC 302. It's our main event, and honestly, this fight makes me sad. Let's take a look at it. For starters, because we always have to talk about the odds. As of Sunday, the 26th, Islam is looking like a powerful favorite. I got minus 470 as the odds being given by the UFC right now.
And the funniest part of those odds is that if you go to the specific things, an odds to win by submission is plus 2,200 for Poirier. So I'm just saying, if you want to go for that long shot bet, I mean, you got the option.
There's a story there, and there's... Okay, so I went and I watched like the 2.5 hour long free fights on the UFC YouTube channel where they put up like an enormous amount of Poirier's UFC fights. Notably, they didn't upload the McGregor wins. I wonder why they didn't do that. But they just have so much on there. And you can go and watch the end of that. The very last fight is his last win against Benoit Saint Denis. You can see Mike Brown in his corner saying, please give up on the guillotine. And you can see Poirier argue with him in his own corner, saying, I can get it. Dustin Poirier has never won by guillotine, and he has jumped it in so many of his UFC fights. It costs him position. It costs him rounds. I don't know why he's obsessed with it. I don't know why he thinks he can get it.
So we can look forward to a guillotine win for Poirier then.
That's... Man.
Wouldn't it be the ultimate fight for that to happen, though? That would be so funny.
Like this, that's exactly it. This would be the fight where it would work. This would be the circumstances, okay? So there's like a lot to get in here. Just like there's a lot to talk about this fight because these guys have a lot of shared opponents. They're at the top of lightweight, which has been the most like brutal, intense division in the UFC for a long time. And it's one of the few divisions where the top 5 and the top 10 have turned away most of the guys coming their way for a while. Dustin Poirier has been in the top 5 or the top 10 for probably 5 or 6 years. So has like Khabib and then Islam. So has Justin Gaethje. So has Oliveira. Like a few new additions like Mateusz Gamrot. Or like Fiziev. Like you have guys who are like coming up the rankings and they get to a Dustin Poirier, they get to a Justin Gaethje, and they get turned away. So that's why we continued. Like this is Poirier's second title shot for the undisputed belt, and he also fought for an interim belt at lightweight and won that. So this is Poirier himself has said it. This is his last chance at the belt. He said, like, I could rebuild and I could get back to the belt, but I'm like 30. He's in his late 30s now. He's like, this is the last time I'm going to do it. So this is his last shot. He's had one of the most intense careers in UFC history. Like in his like second or third UFC fight, he's fighting Max Holloway in Holloway's UFC debut. In his original run down at 145 pounds, he got KO'd by Conor McGregor on McGregor's come up. He's fought like just a who's who of the best fighters at 145 and 155 pounds for the last decade, just about. Which is why this fight is so sad. It's because just like Vegas, I really don't believe Dustin can win. I really don't think so. Islam's last fight was against Volkanovski, and he knocked him out with a head kick. That's not what Islam is good at. Islam is not good at striking. Haha, just kidding. He's knocked down like a whole bunch of guys with way better striking than him. So he has power on top of now like pretty good striking skills on top of what was the best wrestling at lightweight, which is the best UFC division. I legitimately, unless Dustin Poirier can knock him out, because he does have better striking, but I don't think he has a better chin, and I don't think he hits harder. Or he does jump this mythical guillotine and actually taps out Islam Makhachev, or puts him to sleep. And I just literally don't think that's possible. I don't think that's humanly possible. So
Yeah.
it's sad, but
I think I think that is very much the opinion of a lot of people right now. Is that I just don't think that Poirier can pull it off. And there are avenues, there are routes that he could take. And I'm still just trying to think, like, what is his game plan going to be going into this? Like, what is his corner going to be telling him to do? What is he going to have to do to beat Islam Makhachev? Because it just doesn't feel like there's very many routes to success that have any good odds.
Really his best shot is, like, it's got to be something like I don't know. I literally don't know what your game plan is.
He's got to punch him in the head.
Are you, like, if you train sprawl and brawl for 6 months against Islam Makhachev, does that even help you? Like, do you just have to be, because, like, there's a number of things that Islam does that cause problems for people. And one of the first things is just from the start of that fight to the end of that fight, you're in danger and you have no position that you're safe. How do you begin to address that unless you can beat that guy in those positions that he's going to force on you? He's not going to get off of you. He's going to apply pressure. If he's applying pressure on the feet, you're in danger of getting knocked out. Like, the pound-for-pound guy that we thought was the best striker in the world was head kick KO'd in the rematch against Islam. So you're not safe there, and Dustin Poirier gets hit. And Dustin Poirier is best at dealing with boxing combinations. So if Islam doesn't throw combinations, he keeps himself to one or two very dangerous strikes, and he's coming forward. So are you going to panic counter strike and then he's on your hips because you just threw a punch? Are you going to, you need things that A, can keep him off of you, so B, you have a chance to breathe, so C, you can win the fucking fight, because he just starts with an advantage. He starts with such an advantage, because he also, I should say, and I will mention this, Islam is not Khabib in a couple of ways. And one of the big ways Islam is not Khabib is if you look at his record, you see that little 1 next to the 25. That's because when Islam was coming up, he got knocked out. He got knocked out in the UFC. And a lot of people who hate Islam bring it up, but it's harder and harder to bring up because he's been up against Justin Gaethje. He's been up against Charles Oliveira. He's been up against Volk. He fought Volk twice. And it's these most dangerous strikers didn't even, I think he got dropped once in the first Volk fight. I don't think Gaethje dropped him. I don't think Oliveira dropped him. I think he dropped Oliveira. So he's turning out to be the more dangerous fighter with the guys who could hurt him. So that 1 next to the 25 doesn't even feel like it matters anymore.
No, it's actually so fucking funny that Adriano Martins can say that he beat Islam Makhachev by knockout. It just doesn't even feel like that's a real sentence.
Yeah.
He's also pixelated on the UFC website, by the way.
Yeah, no, he's not in the title picture anymore.
Yeah, he's gone.
So it's, I mean, he never was. He never was.
Yeah, no, he was actually going to do anything. It's just funny that that's the beginning. That was his debut, I think, was Makhachev's debut, was getting knocked out by this guy. Looking back on that now is kind of insane given his present circumstances. But yeah, Poirier, I guess, just has to kind of create space. He has to be able to defend against what Islam's going to do. He has to get him off him, like you said. And I think he's just got to go for the stand-up knockout. That's probably his best shot.
Yeah, earn respect early and keep Islam guessing. That's the best.
I mean, Islam is a little less reach. Maybe there's some wiggle room in there. Maybe you can get a couple cheeky ones in. Who knows, right? But hell, it's you knock him down. I don't even know if Poirier knocks him down and gets on him if he's going to be able to maintain that control in most situations. I feel like Islam's just going to reverse it on him.
So something that I am reminded of just in this moment, because we never think of Islam on his back. We never think of that as being a way to beat him. But Volkanovski was able to out-wrestle Islam in the first fight, in the later rounds. It's one of the areas that he had success, was he was able to wrestle Islam. Is that a way forward? No, but I'm not saying shoot on Islam, but what I'm saying is that if you hurt him, top position is still top position. Don't be afraid of it, dude. That would be my advice. And a guillotine, if you get him in your guillotine, please roll over like Angela Hill did. Because if you get into a mounted position and you still have their head in your arms, now you're in a better spot.
Yeah,
but
very true.
Yeah, I don't know. That's all I really have to say about Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, gonna have to give it to Islam probably.
Yeah, it's a hard Islam pick. Why?
All right,
all of the reasons.
But if Dustin Poirier does win, I will buy a bottle of his Louisiana-style hot sauce that he sells on his website.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Same.
So think about that, Dustin Poirier. I know you're a big fan of the pod. If you win, I mean, who cares about Fight of the Night bonus, right? I'll buy your hot sauce.
Absolutely. But also, I guess one last note about this fight. Dustin Poirier is like very cognizant of where he is in his career. He set up all these other sorts of side businesses like the hot sauce. He runs all sorts of charities out in New Orleans, which I think is somewhere in Louisiana, wherever he's from. He's a super stand-up guy. This is his last shot. I hope he wins. I
do. I really hope he does too. Yeah. I think we're all kind of hopeless about it, but if he does, that would be a great like story. You know, like that would be a great final kind of go at it for him.
Absolutely. Our co-main event on UFC 302 is Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. This is both a very serious middleweight bout with implications and kind of a meme fight. There's like so much interesting going on here. For one, I don't think Paulo Costa has won a fight since before he had a title shot against Israel Adesanya. And Adesanya hasn't been the champion for more than a year. And I think Paulo Costa fought him in either 2021 or 2022. So Costa's been on a losing streak. He's also been all over the place. He had a fight versus Marvin Vettori where he missed weight by like 40 pounds. And Vettori's like, I don't care, I'll fight you anyways. He still lost that to Marvin Vettori. He lost a fight to Robert Whittaker. He never looked like he was completely out of those fights. Actually, I should look it up. Let's look it up right now.
What are you looking up, buddy?
I think Paulo Costa might have actually beat Luke Rockhold.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. I was waiting to correct you.
Yeah, I did. No, I remembered it. So he has had one win where he looked pretty good. I cannot bet on Paulo Costa in this fight. Sean Strickland does everything right that should frustrate a Paulo Costa. Also, Paulo Costa is unlucky in that he's one of these guys who, like, his fists come down to his waist and that's about it. These guys are both 6'1". Sean Strickland has 4 inches of reach on Paulo Costa, and Sean Strickland doesn't have like crazy reach normally. Paulo Costa just has very short arms, so he's often very close. He's getting into these brawls in the pocket. He hits super hard. He's very accurate. He has great combinations and a good chin. It's just that Sean Strickland's number 1 and number 2 attack are left jab, right push kick. These are both tools to like constantly lance you and keep you off of him while he builds just like some crazy strike differential. He never gets off of you. He's always throwing punches. He doesn't have a whole bunch of KO power. Even in the fight where he won the belt against Adesanya, where he landed like the perfect counter on Adesanya up against the fence, he didn't knock him out. He just put him on skates for 4 more rounds. But that's the thing. Sean Strickland is a dog. He never stops fighting, and Paulo Costa needs breaks. So unless Costa can actually hurt Sean Strickland, which I don't think he's going to, I think this is going to be a long 3 rounds for Paulo Costa.
Yeah. I was going to say, this is probably just going to go to decision. I'm going to guess going to be unanimous for Sean Strickland.
Hell yeah.
I don't think Costa's got the power to do anything, Like a KO would be like his only hope, I would say. I don't think he's ever going to win going the distance, but I don't think he's going to have any hope in hell of actually KOing Strickland, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird fight, almost.
It is, but it's also a great fight because they're taking 2 of their craziest fighters on the roster and forcing them against each other. That's always a good thing.
That is good, yeah. No, I hope it's an interesting fight.
Before that, we have Kevin Holland versus Mikhail Olajaychuk.
That's not how you say it.
I'm afraid it is.
Is it? I thought it was Alexejczyk. Alexejczyk. I don't know. I was looking this up. I was like, I'm going to try to say his name right.
You know, props to you. I don't know if you got it though.
Okay, I trust you.
I mean, I wouldn't, but.
Oh, okay. I don't trust you. You're full
fight,
of shit.
This fight is continuing the sort of tragic tale of a great fighter that is Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland was fighting at 185 pounds. He had some really good victories, and then people realized they could just wrestle him and not have to worry about anything else he was doing. He got exposed really hard at middleweight, and he decided that he was going to cut weight. He was going to go down to 170 pounds and try things out there where he wouldn't be at like this huge muscle disadvantage, because 185 pounds is just full of meatheads who have really strong punches and okay takedowns. Kevin Holland didn't like that. He went down to 170 pounds, where he had to fight some of the best strikers in the UFC, and he didn't win all of those fights. So now he's going back up to middleweight. Now the tragedy is that Kevin Holland is actually good. Like, he's a good striker. He has really sharp punches. He has good kicks. He even has like okay wrestling. I can think of him winning a fight in the UFC purely by grappling. He just can't put it all together. He gets distracted. Back when he was originally at 185 pounds, people were talking about him like talking to people outside of the cage while losing a wrestling match. As you know, he gets distracted easily. He gets frustrated easily. He's fighting Olajaychuk, who has just never had anything going in the UFC, but he trades wins and losses, and he's still around. So now that Kevin Holland, an actually good fighter, wants to go back up, they're offering him the softest, doughiest looking KO artist they can. And they're going to walk Mikhail out and announce that he's a KO artist too. I think he has like a real mean body shot KO in the UFC. He might also have a few other KOs. He does have like one or two mean punches in a fight, and then that's it. And that's not a great.
Sometimes that's enough, but I mean, I don't know. He doesn't seem to have very good grappling either. Like,
nope.
He's gone down to submission a few times, so I wonder if that just won't be the game plan for Holland. Like, why even risk the like meme KO? Just take him down and finish him that way.
Because Mikhail gets his meme KOs by placing a punch perfectly when he's fresh, not because he has real power. So if you're just a better striker, it's not a risk. I'm not joking. Kevin Holland is just going to pick apart.
You fucking hate this guy, man.
I do, because I watched him.
Is it because you can't say his name?
That's at least part of it, but that's not the whole reason. The whole reason is because, like, again, you can watch someone like go and fight the same fight every single night and realize that they can't do anything about it. That's just how they have to fight. But with someone like Mikhail Olajaychuk, where you're fighting at 185 pounds with a bigger gut than I have, I don't know, man. Like, there are things you could do. There's a lot of things you could do. You could train grappling. You could do, there's a lot.
And
he just
don't do it.
He just don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm heavily picking Kevin Holland to kind of get back in the win column, get things working again. This should be a nice win for him. Also on Reach Watch, we're watching reaches. 81 inches of reach to 74.
That was something I was going to bring up. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a bit of a punch in the head scenario.
Yeah, right. Like, again, Mikhail's route to victory is like body shot KO after I've been punched in the head. Like, that's his best shot, dude.
What if he takes off though with his ears, like, and he flies around the octagon? What's the plan there?
I actually don't, because you're not allowed to like climb up on the octagon. I'm pretty sure they'd call that as a foul.
That's bullshit, man. There's no fucking rule against hovering.
Dumbo was not allowed in the UFC. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Before that, we have the big boys. We have Jailton Almeida versus Alexander Romanov. What do you think's going to happen here, Clark?
Aren't these guys? They're both kind of grapplers, right? Like wrestlers. I think Romanov's a wrestler, isn't he?
Yes.
And honestly, I feel like Almeida's just going to win. That's kind of just like my instinctual reaction to this. Because Almeida has decent boxing and he's got decent grappling, right? And it feels like Romanov really just has decent wrestling. And so like he just loses. He just doesn't have as much. I don't know. He doesn't seem like he's that impressive on the ground that he's going to easily be able to just overpower Almeida or get him into a submission. And it feels like it feels like, round 1 is going to be all wrestling, and then round 2 he's going to get knocked out in 10 seconds or something like that because he's going to be tired. What do you think? How off am I? How wrong am I?
You're not you're not completely off. Romanov is a big wrestler. So is Almeida. Almeida's pretty much only won his UFC fights by taking his opponent down and squeezing the life out of them. He ran into someone he couldn't do that to in his last fight. He got KO'd by Curtis Blades. Blades is quite an effective gatekeeper at heavyweight. But before that, he had a unanimous decision against Derek Lewis. He choked out Jairzinho Rosenstrike. But I mean, like, here's the deal. Heavyweight sucks. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry to anyone who thinks that, like, oh, wow, these are the baddest men on the planet. These are guys who can't do 15 pull-ups, probably.
Making defamatory statements.
Maybe Almeida can. I don't think Romanov can.
I would be, if Romanov could, I'd buy his fucking hot sauce for sure.
For real, right? Now, what does that mean? That, in my eyes, what that means is that whoever ends up on top at the start of round 1 might just decide the whole course of the fight. Because Almeida wants to take Romanov down and Romanov wants to take Almeida down. So I would say Romanov has better technique on his takedowns, but his physicality is worse. And the opposite is true of Almeida. The people have been doing a lot of breakdowns, like specifically of the techniques that Almeida is using to get his takedowns. And the truth is that he doesn't actually have any wrestling takedowns. He kind of just falls into guys' hips, and if they fall over, he gets top to position. Now, that's pretty common at heavyweight, but Romanov does have like some combat sambo experience, I think. So I really, this one's hard to pick.
You have to pick.
Ahead of the show, I circled Almeida on my little notebook.
Yeah, but then I liked him, so you had to talk yourself out of it.
No. I do think Almeida's probably going to win.
Yeah.
I just don't, like, if Romanov wins,
I think you're right in that
good.
it will be whoever gets on top in that round 1 might decide it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Romanov probably isn't going to do that. But if he does, I could see him pulling it off in theory. But like, I don't think that's going to happen. And look at him. He's just like so chubby. I'm sorry. He's a little chubby. I don't think he has good cardio. He's going to get tired faster than Almeida, who'll also get tired because we're in heavyweight and everyone's tired.
Well, I was going to say, remember last time? Remember what happened to Despang against Warles Acosta?
Yeah.
Where the dude who looked like he was super jacked was tired in all of 2 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's true too, I guess.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is... Almeida, they want to be good. Romanov, they used to want to be good. He used to be the big undefeated guy with a whole bunch of finishes. Now he's just another win-loss UFC heavyweight. We're going to find out if Almeida is just another win-loss UFC heavyweight. Probably going to win, though. I'll pick him. But yeah, so our fight before is Randy Brown versus Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. I think I got that name right. Holy shit.
Yeah, well, it's not that hard. Come on.
So, a dude with like 4 names. That's like double.
We're going to test you on the Mongolian a little later.
Okay, yeah, I saw him. Don't worry. Randy Brown, I think, wins this fight.
Yeah, I think Randy Brown wins this fight. I don't know. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I mean, like, just looking at who they fought recently, who they've lost to recently, I think Randy Brown has been taking on the tougher competition. He did get finished by Jack Della Maddalena, but, like, that's one of the best guys at 170 right now, and I still think Randy Brown is also one of the best guys at 170, and that's just not at all what I think of Dos Santos. Skill set wise, I think Randy Brown is more dangerous both on the feet and on the mat. I will say Randy Brown has a suspect chin. He's been knocked out in goofy fucking ways before, and he gets finished sometimes where I just don't think he's warmed up yet. So he's a little bit of a slow starter. He also has one of the few KO losses where I believe he was in top position and the guy on bottom KO'd him with hammer fists. So
Jesus,
he's not invincible, but in every other way, I think he's better than Dos Santos.
Yeah, I think my main worry with this fight is that maybe it's going to be boring as fuck. Like, I don't know. It seems like these two guys could very easily just have like a shitty grappling game thing, and then it just goes to decision after 3 rounds. But yeah, I'd probably put it to Randy Brown regardless. Dos Santos is also. I mean, reach. We're doing a reach watch this episode. He's got 5 inches on him, and Dos Santos is just a little older.
4 inches taller though.
Yeah,
So
4 inches taller.
kind of just like way bigger than the other dude.
Kind of a big guy. I don't know. Maybe Dos Santos can pull something out, but I don't know. I'll put it on Randy Brown. This one's too easy.
Yeah, kind of an easy pick for me too. Moving on, we have Cesar Almeida
And in
versus
the prelims,
Roman Kopylov. This one was kind of tough for me because Cesar Almeida, this is his 5th professional fight, and he's already fought in the UFC. Or sorry, this will be his 6th. He's had 5 fights. He won his last fight in the UFC. He has like 4 professional fights before that. He's not young, I don't think. So it's almost like he's just come out of like left field, and I know almost nothing about this guy. So it makes it really difficult for me to call which one of these guys is going to win, because I know a little bit about Kopylov, and I know he's run into some trouble with grappling. I know that he's been outgunned at times, but he's a super dangerous kickboxer. I'm picking Kopylov just because I know what he is, and I have no idea who Almeida is, and he has 5 professional fights. So
yeah, that's the thing. I looked into him a little bit, but yeah, I couldn't really find a lot. I'm guessing if we were like Brazilian, you might be able to find some more on the Portuguese version of the internet. But I could see Almeida winning if you just look at his stats and stuff from what we do have. Like, I don't know. Seems all right. Seems pretty good. He's got some significant strikes.
yeah, so he has 5 wins, 5 wins by knockout, 3 first-round finishes. That's why he's in the UFC. That's how you get to the UFC in 4 fights. 65% accuracy, 4.5 strikes landed per round on average. He's only taking 1.31, but these are kind of like fake numbers.
Yeah, because it's only 5 fights, right? Like
his average fight time is 11 minutes. It's just he's had 0 cage experience. And his opponent has had lots of cage experience. So yeah, I'm picking Kopylov to win.
I'm going to go for Almeida just so that we have one that we don't agree on.
All right. Nice. Can't wait to text you really mean things when...
No, don't say that. I don't know. I think Almeida, just looking at him, he could be a good striker. Maybe he could go toe-to-toe with Kopylov. I honestly think that it's going to be, like, I don't know, if he loses, it's going to be just grappling. That is my just initial impression, is that this Almeida guy is not a grappler. And you're right, he is old, too. And one of the conversations I've had with a few people recently is how, like, if you aren't a grappler by the time you're 30, it's pretty tough to, like, start to learn that shit. So I guess it'll be interesting to see what he does. And then we can have a better opinion on him, you know?
Yeah, I will say Kopylov is not a wrestler. He's a kickboxer. So if Almeida's losing, it might be because he's getting pieced up on the feet. Even if this one goes to decision, I think it's probably not going to suck. This will be a good fight.
That's great.
But yeah, before that, we have Grant Dawson versus Joe Selecki. The battle of who was knocked out worse in their last fight. Joe Selecki got slam KO'd in his last fight. That's tough. That's like really tough to come back from. I forget exactly how and who KO'd Grant Dawson. Might have been Bobby Green. Let me look this up.
It was Bobby Green.
It was Bobby Green? Yeah, I figured. Yeah. So these guys are both coming off KO losses. So it really just depends who you think. Well, it depends on a lot of things, right? Like, what are their games? How do they measure up? These guys both kind of occupy the same space in my brain for a very generic modern MMA fighter. They can grapple, they can punch, they can kick, and they really haven't proven that any of those things are standout. When they win a fight, it's usually because in one of those areas they find an edge. So pretty early on, right, you're going to find out which one of these guys is more comfortable on the feet, and then the one who is less comfortable is going to shoot a takedown. I think Grant Dawson is going to be the better of these two fighters. He's just had more cage time. He's had more serious fights. Joe Selecki got brutally KO'd the first time he fought a name. So I'm picking Grant Dawson. by 3-round unanimous decision.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable opinion. I think it might just be a grapple game. Both of these guys seem pretty comfortable on the ground. Maybe both of them more comfortable than standing up, but I think I agree that it's just going to be they stand up for like a few seconds, and then that's going to be the moment that Selecki eats shit. Because I don't think he's as comfortable standing up as Dawson is. So I'm going to go with Dawson too.
Wow, nice. I also don't like either of these fighters because I think of them as boring. So hopefully one of them does something interesting in this fight.
Yeah, what
so
if
I
it's
have a
sick,
reason to
dude?
like them.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Pros and cons.
Coming up before that, we've got Phil Rowe fighting the ghost of Jake Matthews. Let's go.
Damn,
Jake Matthews.
I don't know. Supernatural. Like, I don't know what the rules say about this, but like, I don't know. Doesn't seem fair that you can be a ghost.
No, it's not actually a good thing, believe it or not. The living has the advantage. Yeah, Phil Rowe lost like a close fight to Neil Magny in his last fight, and Neil Magny is just like, he's more scar tissue than man at this point. He's tough as nails, and he turns away as many prospects as he loses to. Jake Matthews, I feel like, couldn't even graduate from prospect to gatekeeper. He continues to get gate-capped. He's 29 years old. He's not a young prospect anymore. He's been trading wins and losses at welterweight for a long time. He hasn't looked comfortable on his feet in a long time. His grappling game, like, he just consistently ends up in bad positions, even though it seems like his grappling game is his main focus. He used to brag about his hands. They haven't looked good in a long time. I think Phil Rowe wins this one.
Yeah, I honestly think this is almost just kind of like a soft layup to Phil Rowe. Like, just here's a guy like you're definitely going to beat, so just beat him, please. Because Rowe has been looking pretty good recently. He's had a couple of losses. His last one was, the close loss. So I think maybe this is kind of like a turnaround fight for him a little bit. Come off that close loss, knock a dude out, submit him, whatever. Because, Matthews is not really the death knell of the UFC fighter, where you're just winning and losing like every other time. That's exactly where he is.
And this is like a weird place to put this statement, but I am still gonna say this here. There's like nothing wrong with being a gatekeeper. There's nothing wrong with being like a win-loss UFC fighter.
You gotta define these terms.
If you can like make money doing that.
This is your job and you're fine with it, then nothing wrong with it, 100%.
It's just, but if you're in the sport where every loss costs you a lot more than it would in any other profession, gotta be careful.
Yeah, you might want to consider like the factory job or something, or like the warehouse job over the brain damage job if you're not gonna, like win a lot of your fights.
Yeah. Sorry, Jake Matthews. Good luck.
No, we're being mean to Jake Matthews. I'm sorry.
You kind of suck, Matthews. Man. Sorry.
Don't hurt us.
I don't think he can. Not anymore. So before that, we have Nico Price versus Alex Morono. Let's see if this webpage will actually work. Come on, UFC. I know you can do it.
This guy's got web pages open.
Nope. Okay, so we can't expand that. They don't have any stats for these two fighters for some reason.
No one's ever seen them fight before. These guys are mystery men.
They're really not. Nico Price, I think, was that Donald Cowboy Cerrone's last ever fight where it was declared a draw because Nico Price was both beating the shit out of him and accidentally fouling him nonstop. Nico Price has had... Nico Price is the dude who hammer fist KO'd Randy Brown from bottom position. Okay. So he has like just the strangest power in everything that he does. He just can't put his hands on the target in a way that works. He just can't do anything that works. But he has all these...
He just can't do anything that works.
He also has a terrible chin and he gets knocked out a lot. He's fighting Alex Morono, who is like the most dedicated regular dude at 170 pounds. And I mean that with all the respect I can, because you don't see a lot of people who would have the physical attributes and gifts of a Walmart greeter, just toughing it out to be a UFC fighter. That's really what I think Alex Morono is. Like, he has zero physical attributes, zero physical gifts, and he's become one of these, win-loss fighters. No hope. Like,
no brain, no muscles.
I wouldn't say no brain, but I would say no muscles. Because that's the only way that he's been able to win fights is by just being scrappy and having a few techniques here and there. But yeah, this dude is not... There's not a fast twitch muscle in this man's entire body.
Damn. So this is gonna be a good fight.
I'm picking Alex Morono though because I think of him as a more serious fighter than Nico Price.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Price could maybe do it. I'm just trying to think of how the hell he's gonna get in there, because I don't know. I guess it's just gonna be like a stand-up game. Whoever fucking blinks first, essentially.
Yeah, and I'm saying this only to try to talk over the helicopter that's buzzing my house right now. Do you know what Alex Morono's ring name is?
Isn't it like something about being white?
It's not about being white. He is.
It's like white ass.
He's the Great White.
Oh yeah,
Alex
it's the
Morono.
Great White. Oh,
Now,
that's why you like him, huh?
No, this is just a funny
Racism.
story. When he did an Ask Me Anything on Reddit years ago, the number one first question that was liked to the top of that was, "Why is your ring name the Great White? Please let it be about the shark." And luckily it is.
I'd be like, yeah.
They had at his gym. They had some drill that they would run. They would call it like the Shark Tank. And if you won the round, you stayed in. It would just be like, you know, an intense type of like sparring training that you would be doing. And one of the other guys in the gym said, "You're the Great White. You do the best at this drill." So that's what he took. He's the Great White.
Okay.
So just clearing his good name from any sort of, just in case you see that on fight night and you're like, "What's going on there?" It's the shark. It's okay. Relax.
White ass.
So
Yeah, my only concern with Morono is that, I don't know, I feel like he's got to be, he's a little bit of a pillow fist. You know what I mean?
yes.
He wins, but it's oftentimes going to decision. And on the converse, Nico Price like is occasionally able to KO or TKO people. So just to be cute, I'm gonna take the fucking weird one and give it to Price.
All right. I mean, not a bad pick. Price is dangerous. It's just
Like he has
Alex
the
Morono
capability.
has to be making coffee to get KO'd. You know, he has to be in the right position.
Yeah.
Before that, we're going on to our early prelims.
Early prelims. We all watch those.
Oh my God. Okay, so I actually know who Basil Hafez is. So
Yeah, you're good friends.
now you can tell us who Mickey Gall is.
Oh, no, I say anything. I got nothing to say.
But he beat your favorite fighter.
He beat my favorite fighter, Mr. CM Punk. Not actually my favorite fighter, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me.
Mickey Gall, the man who, back when Dana White was still looking for a fight before he had his Contender Series, Mickey Gall called out CM Punk on some regional scene, and that's how we got into the UFC. Mickey Gall isn't good. That's
No, he's
not news to anybody. He's been in the UFC for most of his fight career, and he's fighting in the early prelims this late in. He's never been ranked. Now, Mickey Gall could get good because Mickey Gall, I don't know, he trains seriously. He has legitimate skills. It's just he got his UFC shot not because he was beating names on a regional scene, but because he called out CM Punk. So he's kind of had like a stunted career in a way. You know, he called his shot, he got it, and it turned out that that wasn't actually a great thing because beating CM Punk got him notoriety, not money or skills. So, is he going to win against Basil Hafez? I would say no, and I'll tell you why.
I want to know.
Basil Hafez gave Jack Della Maddalena, the man who choked out Randy Brown recently, that's Randy Brown's most recent loss, had his toughest fight in the UFC against Basil Hafez on short notice. Now, part of that is because you're fighting a guy on short notice that you weren't preparing for, but that also means that Basil Hafez can just kind of show up and compete with the best guys at 170. He has at least some things that he can do that will frustrate fighters. So I'm hard picking Basil Hafez because I've never seen Mickey Gall do something that would trouble Jack Della Maddalena. That's my hot take.
Yeah, no, that's like kind of where I was going with this one as well. I think it is kind of another one of those layup fights. Like Hafez has his one fight, loses by split decision, and here's like his kind of turnaround to throw in an older guy at him who's been at it for a while, who is just, you know, this is the guy that you just throw Let this guy eat him. And if Hafez can't actually beat him, then there you go. Hafez actually sucks ass, and it was a fluke in his first fight. But I don't feel like that's going to happen. I feel like Mickey Gall is probably going to get eaten up a little bit, so I'm going with Hafez.
Also, I'm just like noticing this now. I think Hafez has a breast cancer tattoo, so you doubly have to root for him.
Yeah, dude. This guy loves breast cancer.
Dude, and we love women, so you gotta.
We love women.
And speaking of women, this is our first women's fight on the card so far.
This might be the only one.
We got 2.
Yeah, this is the only WMMA.
And this is not like a very notable one either. This is at women's bantamweight. Aylin Perez versus Jocelyn Edwards. We have Panama versus Argentina. And I'm already running out of things to say about this fight.
Edwards sucks. I don't like Edwards. I've been forced to watch her fight multiple times. She is the epitome of a WMMA. I only stand up even though I don't have that good strikes. And I just either win or lose by unanimous decision every single fight. She also dyes her hair weird, which she's allowed to do because it's her body, but I still don't like it. It's not helping her case, in my opinion. So I'm picking Perez because she has her nickname is Fiona, and apparently, according to her, that's because when she weighs in, she's like a princess, and in the octagon, she's an ogre. So it's like Shrek.
Dude, I love Shrek. Yeah, that's like a pretty comprehensive breakdown of Edwards.
What else do you need to say? I don't know. That's my honest opinion. Edwards could win. Very well could be Edwards by unanimous. You know, like that could go that way, but I feel like Perez probably has it.
But in equal measure, it could be Perez by unanimous decision. Yeah, her last
right? It could be
fights,
unanimous for one.
Her last 2 fights, she's won by unanimous. She's been choked out in the UFC. That was actually her debut.
Her debut, she got choked out.
Yeah, I mean, really, both of these girls have an opportunity to distinguish themselves in a division that's like still kind of reeling from Amanda Nunes leaving. You know, the champion at 135 is not impressive anymore. So, you all literally, you all have a shot. There's no one like the top predator in the environment has gone extinct.
Right, we got to fill those ecological niches. This is your chance to evolve and fill that ecological niche. Okay, kill.
And speaking of killing, yo, is that a dude from fucking Mongolia? We
Mongolians
have a fighter that is not unlocked yet. Hopefully,
it's so weird because his photo. If you click on his actual page, he just has a photo. I don't know why they didn't use it. Instead, he's like a hidden character.
Oh shit, there he is. Man, you know, I was kind of hoping a dude from Mongolia wouldn't just have like the standard tiger, skull, Japanese demon tattoos, but he does. So this is my first real introduction to Nayam Jagal Tumen Dem Burrell. How'd I do? How's that name done?
I think it was pretty good. This is his debut, I believe.
It is.
So that's exciting for him.
I am seeing a lot of worrying things on his stat page.
Yeah?
Yeah, so...
He's 2 wins. How many wins do you have?
I actually am so confused at this very moment in time. At this very moment in time, I'm asking myself, why is a man with 2 professional fights getting a UFC debut? Why, when he has 45% striking accuracy... Now, he does have, like, some crazy numbers for... like, landing 4.43 strikes per minute. That's, like, really high. That's actually a pretty impressive output. But he's also absorbing almost as much, 3.62. So do they think they have another Korean zombie? Like, what are they...
What's their end game?
What is their end game? I really don't know. I'm
really not sure. And I'm kind of excited to see this might actually be like an early prelim really worth tuning into. Because who knows? Maybe they've seen something really impressive that we just don't know about yet. Because, I was thinking, I'm like 2 professional wins, really? It's a UFC debut? But who knows? Maybe that's it. Maybe he's really good.
And, I mean, he's taking on 8-0 Andre Lima. Who... Oh, God.
I believe there wasn't this the disqualification or something in his debut? Like, he won by DQ.
Yeah, he might have, actually.
Hold on, let me check this. That's right. Oh, I think I remember this too. He got bit or something by the other guy, and it was DQ because he got bit.
This is the guy who got bit. Holy shit.
Yeah, so it's almost kind of like it's also like this is kind of still his debut because he did 2 rounds, I guess, before getting vampired. But like I don't know, he hasn't really had a full fight yet.
Can I also just say though that, like, stat-wise, he's a little bit behind our Mongolian warrior for like strikes landed per minute. He's only at like 3.98 instead of 4 point whatever.
Yeah,
but he's
I mean,
also
like
taking
he's had some fight.
like half of the damage. He also has like way higher striking accuracy. He's also had 4 times the amount of fights. I'm gonna pick the Mongolian just because I want to be crazy.
Yeah,
I'm hard picking him to win because something is up. Something's wrong.
I got to pick the Mongolian too. And it is just completely based off vibes, but something's got to be going on here, right? They know something we don't. Dana White knows something we don't.
Something going on. So definitely throw the house at. Now you try to say his name.
No. Niam. No, I can't do it, man. Niam Jigar Tumen Dembarel.
Yeah.
I can say his last name. Last name's probably easier than first name for me.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a cute little card.
This has been us looking at the whole fight card for UFC 302. You got our predictions. Do with that what you will.
Yeah, dude. This is all 100% financial advice.
Yeah.
Bet the house. Bet the car. Bet your children's.
From top to bottom, this card is not consistent. Your main card, you have 5 like really good fights. Like actually you do. The worst of these fights is at heavyweight. And then you have like a showcase fight for Kevin Holland where they're basically going to remind people what he does and how he's good. The rest of these, like the other 3 fights, are going to be competitive. Even if we all figure that Islam Makhachev is going to destroy Dustin Poirier, Poirier is still like top 5 fighters in the world. I just fuck off, dude. He's that good. He is. He actually is.
Don't say fuck off to me.
I didn't say it to you. I said it to whoever's counting him out, which is not us because we're smart. But yeah, so then you get to the prelims and it's like a lot of these guys both got KO'd in their last fight. These guys both lost their last fight.
Or yeah, this guy's like kind of old and this guy only has a couple fights and it's clearly like we're feeding him a win.
Yeah, but that 302 main card, it rocks, man. I'm hyped.
Yeah, it should be pretty sick. Actually, I'm looking forward to it. And do you want to just litigate real quickly something we talked about last week about titty punches? Because we did something very difficult and we talked to women. Yes, that was my first time doing that. And according to women, apparently tit punches are in fact very painful.
Yeah, I'm still. So, we only have one opportunity to see one on this card, so make sure you tune in for those.
And I know it's kind of interesting. It's a conversation that I guess like WMMA fighters are gonna have with the UFC, but I don't know. Like, is there a possibility for a rule change there? If it's that good, people really start using it like to do damage. Like, I don't know. Can that stand? Can that last?
People would have to remember.
It's an interesting question.
Punches to the body, so I don't.
Yeah, that's true. No one does that. But yeah, maybe it won't be anything. But I would love to see. Some woman who's got decent striking just fucking, I don't know, become the tit puncher. It's allowed.
Oh my lord. Yeah, and actually, I can think of one other time that we had, I was really delving into my memory of every fight I've ever seen, thinking, when was there a time in history where a woman was struck in the chest before in the UFC? And I can think of like one example where... and I'm not going to remember either of these girls' names, but where a girl got kicked in the chest. Like, she got a front kick in the chest that kind of, like, messed with the front of her shirt. And she both seemed to want to fix her shirt and get away from being kicked in the chest. So, yeah, I don't know. This might legitimately be new tech. Let's see it. Go.
We got new strats.
Yeah. But, yeah, thank you for joining us for another UCF podcast. This week we gave you some predictions. Looking forward to that UFC 302 card. We hope you are too. We'll be watching live. Have a great week and stay out of trouble, dude.
Never forget to love women.
Love women.
Because we do.